From time to time, my fiery passion for video games seems to dim a little bit, and I think occasionally we all get this way. Whether that's due to a stale release schedule, or maybe it's just been a while since a game truly launched us into that whirlwind of awe-inspiring amazement, lately has been one of those times for me. But after playing nearly 5 hours of Horizon Zero Dawn, I can safely say that I love video games once more. Sony was kind enough to bring me to their big preview event in Los Angeles, and I got to play the beginning and a whole bunch more of Horizon, and oh my freaking goodness, hallelujah, it lives up to all of the hype. I can safely say that Guerrilla Games has done it, and what they set out to do with Horizon Zero Dawn, they've done all of that and then some. This really feels like a next-gen open-world title, and for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm finally playing PlayStation 4 games instead of just PlayStation 3 games with better graphics and more stuff. Horizon, in a nutshell, is a perfectly executed, wondrous open world full of incredibly awesome enemies, exciting, exhilarating combat, and a whole lot of quests that feel much more meaningful than the typical fetch and find we see so often these days. My favorite part of Horizon, if I had to boil it down, is the flow and feel of Aloy. Your main character is a very tough and very awesome girl who can be customized in the form of outfit, weaponry, skills, but no matter how you set your Aloy, she still will roll, jump, dodge, run, and fire with extreme finesse. The way that you transition between changing weapons, to firing weapons, to dodging out of the way, to zooming in, to changing to a different weapon, to crafting on the go, it all just flows with an effortless fun and an amazing feel that I think will define this game as an extreme success. Because at the end of the day, gameplay is what wins out, and here they have found a formula and a loop that is incredible. I will admit that I was growing skeptical of Horizon because we hadn't seen a whole lot in the trailers until recently. We hadn't seen a whole lot of gameplay diversity, and you begin to wonder if a studio that is known for shooters, hefty shooters at that, can really create this game that tackles so much and do all of it with some level of prowess. And yet here they are, creating what seems to be one of the coolest and most complete games we've seen this generation. I could not stop thinking about Horizon after I got done playing it. In fact, I was up till 2:30 a.m. discussing and going through everything that went on in my demo. It was much more than a demo, though, as I played through, like I said, the beginning of the storyline, zoomed forward a bit, and then got a bunch of hours into the meat of the campaign. It is an incredibly gorgeous adventure. I played on PlayStation 4, but I also saw 4K on PS4 Pro, and no matter how you play, I think you will be very happily impressed with how this game looks. And to me, that also factors in to the whole wow factor, that it looks so good and yet has so much going on. And it's impossible for me to verbally walk you through how Horizon feels, so I've compiled a whole bunch of footage that showcases all the elements that I enjoyed. Combat, cruising through the world, talking and interacting with a plethora of characters. They even did a nice job of incorporating a whole bunch of different looking, different sounding, different behaving NPCs for you to wine and dine throughout your adventure. There's even dialogue choices and some morality in the game, which I totally did not expect. But my absolute favorite is when you are battling all of the bad guys. And the bad guys are both human and dinosaur, the metallic dinosaurs that roam this world gone awry. We don't know exactly what happens. I have a better idea after playing the beginning. I won't spoil it, but clearly this is a post-apocalyptic, weird world where everything went wrong. And Aloy seems to be determined to uncover exactly what that was and exactly why it happened. She starts out as an outcast, eventually earns her way into the Nora tribe, and then tackles the world as their leading huntress. And it's awesome to see such an empowered female character, and that shows up super well as she tackles creatures like sawtooths, stalkers, and even fire bellowbacks. There are a bunch of big, cool dinosaurs in this game. And even if you're someone who just likes cool creatures, cool designs, metal meets meat, like, this game has that to the hilt. And I love the way that they have made everything so so tricky and so well crafted. So each creature has weak spots, and each of those weak spots contributes to a certain part of said creature's machinery. So if you disable or dismantle one part of a creature, you may be shutting down a certain system, or you may be making it rendered immobile, or you may just kill it altogether. But nonetheless, every enemy in the game seems to have a story behind it. Why it does what it does, how its functionality was established, and what parts of its body are most important for you to take down. And I love that. I love this specific gameplay. I loved the very nuanced combat. And I love that the weapon of choice here is a bow and arrow. Whether it's fire arrows, whether it's precision arrows, whether it's tearaway arrows to pull off pieces of that metallic armor, you are using that bow all the time. Now you also have other weapons, including a weird pellet shotgun, a slingshot that launches bombs, and some traps, whether they be electric or rope and hold. There's probably a lot more weapons in the game. It seemed like the merchants around the world were just stocked full of cool stuff, as well as gems that can be used to modify your weaponry and your outfits. And I like that you could switch up outfits with different stats. This is a very character-driven and create a character-driven experience. Even though Aloy is your main heroine, you will get to create her how you see fit, in what she wears, in what weapons she focuses on, and in what skills she has. Skills start off simple, like attacks from above, attacks from below, and eventually you go down those chains and gain some pretty cool abilities. You're able to upgrade your stealth, and I was happy to see that stealth plays a huge role in this game. You're constantly moving very quietly through the tall grass, utilizing your sort of supercomputer vision to analyze threats, see what's out there in the world, and plan your attack. And it is a game that requires combat planning. Sure, you can run in guns blazing, or bow blazing if you will, but it pays off to really see the scene, set the stage, and then let it all play out. You can even track enemy movements, see what they're up to, and some of the enemies are much more docile than others. So you may even use some as eventual mounts, or who knows what. You have a weapon or a tool that is able to sort of calm and almost bring the enemies over to your side. Very much so a tool that I can see being super useful as it's upgraded. But in these moments of heated combat, it all works together flawlessly, really. You're jumping, you're dodging, you're firing, you're meleeing, you're moving in for a closer, better angle, you're moving out to dodge and heal. The heal system itself is brilliant. So you have this pouch, right, that mirrors your health bar, and every level you gain, your health bar grows, and so does your pouch. And you'll collect these herbs around the world that fill your pouch certain percentages, small being 10%, larger being 20%. And as you take damage, you can hit the heal button, and it will take an amount of health that is exact to how much health you have lost, provided you have that in your pouch. So picture your pouch being full 50%. Well, now you can take 50% damage and know that you will be able to regain that amount almost instantly. It takes a little bit of time, but you can even upgrade that. So back to the combat, you're fighting against sometimes a bunch of different dinosaurs, which makes things even more dynamic. It's one thing to take on 3 of the Watchers, the simple small enemy we've seen more often than anything else in the trailers. You shoot them in the eye and they go down. But once you start incorporating and introducing these enemies that fire sniper type bullets at you, that are massive and launch volleys of fire, that can go invisible, that can drop mines, that can come up and bite you, it becomes a lot hairier and harder of a situation. You have a zoom ability that slows down time for some more precision shots, and I really appreciated this because it didn't feel like a cheat button, but rather an assist to help me target those specific parts of their body that I mentioned before. And I was really impressed with the difficulty of the game. I felt like it was a good challenge through and through, which is something I can't say for many games in 2016-2017. We have kind of this lead you and guide you to the end ideology that seems to permeate through most genres, but here Guerrilla has said, we want you to get good at Horizon, and you better get good, because these enemies are ruthless, and it feels fierce when they're all coming at you, and you begin to establish a sort of pride and prowess in your Aloy, not only because you have picked the way that she develops, but also because you are keeping her alive, and you become a badass very, very quickly. But you need to be the best badass you can be in order to survive some of these fights, and I was impressed with the longevity of some as well. Enemies don't go down easy, and as you venture farther and deeper into the vast world, you'll find bigger creatures that bite a lot harder. I was also impressed with that world. The fact that there are a lot of environmental varieties and a day-night variety, also a weather variety, snow, rain, sun, fog, dusk. It's very interesting to see how the world shifts and changes, and how certain encounters are more beautiful or more dangerous or more stealthy or more serene, depending on the setting and the time of day that they take place in. In fact, I purposely avoided my first encounter with a tall neck, those real tall, massive, long neck type dinosaurs that you can climb aboard and see for what seems like miles. I waited until it was daytime because I wanted to experience that in its full glory, where I could see for said miles. And you climb aboard this docile dino, and you can look out and boost and bolster your map and see much more of the environment. And the map is littered with goodies, and it's broken down into main quests and side quests and errands. And I like the fact that they sort of have, you know, multiple differentiations so that you can handpick and choose what you want to do. Are you a 100%er? Are you going to do all the errands? Are you someone who just wants to see the main story and follow that main quest? Are you someone that wants some side stuff but only the juiciest side stuff? Well, then you stick with the side quests and avoid the errands. There's hubs where you can acquire a bunch of quests. There's random people, travelers, stragglers, stranded, war-torn people across the lands that will give you little errands or little side quests, or maybe even contribute to a main quest. Sometimes you have to track people or creatures. Sometimes you have to investigate a scene. There really are so many styles of gameplay being crammed into Horizon, and yet they all work, and they're all fun. And I think that's really, really remarkable, especially from a studio and a team that is known exclusively for first-person shooters. They had some of the crucial, critical leads there, and they were talking about how it seemed like sort of a crazy, dumb idea to do a massive open-world game after mastering shooters for so many years. But they wanted the challenge, they wanted to push themselves, and boy, am I glad that this team did this game, because they have made it beautiful in so many ways, for my eyes, for my ears, and for my hands. I think it's a very pleasing game, audio-wise as well. The screams and the shouts of the different beasts are both beautiful and also kind of terrifying. And you'll be roaming the world and come across Corrupted, these creatures that are enhanced versions of their regular counterparts, and they leak and ooze this red and black evil across the land that will slowly damage Aloy if she gets too near. And you can collect a whole bunch of resources as you defeat enemies, as you defeat bandits, as you roam the world and search for sticks and stones and herbs and things of the past. You'll find relics. And all of this stuff can be used either for lore gaining opportunities, or for trading with merchants to acquire better outfits, better gear, or for crafting new arrows, crafting new tools to take you through this massive world. And you start off with the Nora tribe, and clearly there's a whole lot more out there. So it does such a nice job of really starting as a funneled beginning and opening you to this world and to the character of Aloy, learning about her past, learning a little bit about what may have gone on, what was the world like before everything turned into hunters, gatherers, and dinosaurs, and then launching you into the vast wilderness that you find before you. And there's so many little things that I could go into detail about, and I'll try to make a bunch more videos, you know, really giving you guys the nitty-gritty. I've got a 4K video. I plan on answering a bunch of your questions, so feel free to let me know any you may have in the comments below. But I was just so thoroughly impressed by the fact that this game clearly is an achievement on so many levels. And it all feels great. And it all looks great, and it all works great, and it's so much fun. That's the kicker right there, right? That it's so much fun and also so great. Because it's one thing to paint a beautiful picture, but it's another to paint a picture that brings joy to those who view, and that is what Horizon did for me, and I think it will do for you. I came away just so impressed and so ready for February 28th, so excited to delve deeper into this world, and I feel like it really is an expansive, awesome place. There are these dungeons, if you will, these underground areas, these hidden mysteries that I wasn't able to show you, and they hold their own secrets and are almost realms of the past, places where a whole lot more of that old world is revealed. And I think that from what I saw, every element of storytelling was pretty darn good, and I hope that the promise of the big reveals, whether they relate to Aloy and where she's from, whether they relate to the world and why it is the way it is, I hope that they pay off, because they've done a nice job of establishing intriguing characters with heartfelt emotions and with voice acting and mocap that convinces you that this is a place. And some of those vistas, man, I'm sure you've seen some in this video that have made you just go wow, because they really just shine. And I think that it's an interesting world, and it may not be as big as some we've seen before. You know, map size is something that's touted frequently and expressed as a way that the game can immerse you. But I feel like this strikes that ideal balance of a world that is so chock full of goodies and also big, but never too big so that you feel you're running amok with nothing to do. I mean, I haven't even mentioned things like the Hunter Trials, which are basically these little challenges that you can compete in and complete to boost your skills and also earn prizes, medallions. Who knows where that all leads, but it seems like there is this overall guild in the game that have these different Hunter's Trials, and there's almost a Hunger Games feel to some of it, some of the story beats, some of the world, you know, Aloy herself with that bow and arrow, a little bit of a Katniss resemblance, but this is a colorful world, this is a unique world, and that, to me, also speaks volumes to the accomplishment that Guerrilla Games has reached. Trying something new is one thing when you copy. Trying something new when you innovate and encourage and foster unique encounters, unique enemies, unique styles of combat. It's just really that kind of game to make you fall in love with it all over again. You know, I've had some of those in the past, whether it was Super Mario World, BioShock 1, Half-Life 2. You have these moments like The Last of Us where you're like, dang, this medium is the best darn medium that has ever existed. And Horizon Zero Dawn, for the 5 hours I played, is looking to be another one of those tentpole games that leaves its mark in my life. And I know that sounds like a lot of hyperbole, but really I don't know how many things I do that I come away that excited from. And it really was just that darn cool. And I wish I could somehow impart everything that's in my head straight into yours so you could feel this excitement, but I hope I've done a solid job at conveying why Horizon is the game we all hope for and then some. And I think that if you're going to focus on why, it's because it flows super well, it's because it is jam-packed with meaningful content, it's because the combat is dynamic and interesting, it's because the creatures you come across are surprising, exciting, and an awful lot of fun to fight, and because there is a challenge there, because it requires you to be good with Aloy, it requires you to master the skills that you have at your disposal, and it requires you to improve and build upon those. Collecting XP is fun when you know you're getting better, because you see a big bad dino off in the distance that is a pain to put down right now, but you know if you acquire more of this, a little bit better of that, you are gonna be the boss of that baddie eventually. I like that a lot. And flipping between fire arrows, regular arrows, locking down enemies with traps, going in for the melee critical hit, popping back out to build your distance, using that slow-mo to shoot off specific parts. I mean, listen to what we're talking about here. This is a game that's open world and has more intriguing combat than almost anything I've seen in years. So it feels next gen, and that is fantastic. PS4, Xbox One, they need more games that couldn't be done before, and not just from a graphical or a size standpoint, but from a creativity standpoint and from a prowess and just pure unadulterated gameplay goodness standpoint, and that's what Horizon Zero Dawn delivers, and it delivers it soon. I can't believe the game is coming out. I cannot wait to play more of it. I walked away ready for 15 more hours. I don't know how long the game ends up being, but it felt real big. The map size is giant, if not huge, and there is a lot of stuff. I was acquiring, like I said, errands, side quests, main quests, and I can't wait to move through all of it, and I will be bringing you a whole lot more as we near February 28th, and then obviously after. Until that time, though, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this, because I sure did. If I had to come up with a negative or a concern, it would be that I hope they're able to keep the variety coming as the game progresses. Variety in enemies, variety in locations, variety in weaponry. I really want to see, as you move from level 5 to 10 to 15 to 20, as you move through the main quest, that there is more and more unveiled, uncovered, and unleashed upon you. And that to me would be my only worry, but from what I've seen, they do a great job of continuously surprising you with new elements. And big thanks again to Sony for inviting me to their preview and for giving me the chance to play this remarkable game and share it with you all. Until next time, though, everybody, thank you again. Drink some hot chocolate. Prepare for Aloy. Prepare for mechanical dino monstrosities. And prepare for a game that will make you love video games all that much more. Thanks again. Drink some hot chocolate. I love you. And we will see you all later.